This is ABC 7 News at noon. Your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Hello and welcome. I'm Scott Dennis. Thanks so much for joining us. Topping our news at noon, Sunday morning's deadly shooting at a rural Texas church that left at least 26 people dead and 20 others hurt. The gunman later found dead, apparently of a gunshot wound. ABC's Danya Backus is live from Sutherland Springs, Texas, with more.
The crime scene investigation will continue for days at this church, and we've just learned investigators reviewed video from inside, and they also let us know that evidence found at this scene may prove that the shooter died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The victims range in age from 5 to 72 years old.
Because he's a coward. He's a coward. Why else would he go for the people in a church?
In one family, 3 children were shot. 6-year-old Brooke and 8-year-old Emily died. The family telling ABC News their 5-year-old brother is recovering. 14-year-old Annabelle Renee Pomeroy, the youngest daughter of the pastor of the church, also died. He says his daughter was one very beautiful, special child.
It was kind of in chunks. The first few were like 4 to 5, like I said.
The masked gunman, 26-year-old Devin Kelly, first opened fire outside the church during a morning worship session.
He was going from the face of the church around to the side, and he kept just unloading.
As Kelly left the church, officials say he was fired upon by a hero neighbor who jumped into a car with Johnny Langendorf, and they chased down the suspect. Kelly crashed his car and was found dead from a gunshot wound.
He just hurt so many people, and he just affected so many people's lives. Why wouldn't you want to take him down?
Kelly, seen here in this LinkedIn photo, appeared to have anger issues after serving a year in prison following a court-martial for assault on his spouse and their 11-month-old child. Kelly received a bad conduct discharge from the Air Force in 2014. We now also know that the suspect did not have a license to carry. As far as a motive, investigators say that his mother-in-law actually attended this church, and there was an ongoing domestic dispute that included threatening text messages from the suspect. Danya Backus, ABC News, Sutherland Springs, Texas. Back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Danya. A man described by Florida Highway Patrol as a habitual traffic offender is in jail after being arrested by Manatee County Sheriff's deputies over the weekend. Authorities had been searching for Lee Bassett since Friday night. He's facing hit-and-run charges for leaving the scene after hitting a car with 4 people inside, one of which was flown to the hospital for treatment. Tens of thousands of Puerto Ricans are now calling Florida home since Hurricane Maria destroyed their island. Now many of them are on the hunt for jobs. In Central Florida over the weekend, hundreds of evacuees attended a job fair, all of them hoping to take the first steps needed to assimilate to their new homes. Many of them saying they don't plan to go back to the island anytime soon.
I'm staying here. This is my long term, and I want to move here, and I want to build a house.
They like my resume, and they said, we'll call you.
Job Fair also offered resume building courses and interview tips. Several companies hired people right on the spot. County officials said because of the large turnout, they may hold another one early next year. The soccer season is done for the year, but an exception was made for a good cause. Orlando City SC faced off against Puerto Rico's national team. Didn't really matter what the final score was. Everyone was essentially cheering for the same thing. The goal of this game? To raise money for those suffering from the aftermath of Hurricane Maria. All of the money raised from ticket sales, merchandise, and concessions all going towards the United for Puerto Rico Fund. In the wake of Hurricane Irma, 2 large trees will be taken down today and tomorrow at the DeSoto National Memorial. You can see work is now underway there. One of the gumbo limbo trees is the current American Forest Champion tree, meaning that it's the largest of its species in the country. Visitor safety was the main reason park officials wished to remove the 2 trees from the West Bradenton Park. They were damaged by the storm, and then it was found that they are both diseased as well. The Park Visitor Center and surrounding area will be closed throughout the tree removal process, which is expected to be done by the end of tomorrow. If you want to help preserve a legacy of the Gumbo Champion tree, you can claim your own cutting of that tree to replant. Rangers will be giving those disease-free limbs out on Wednesday at noon at no cost. That's a pretty cool idea. Yeah. John Scalzi joined us now, and I guess the fog lifted enough for them to get work underway on those trees.
I guess so, yeah. We're starting to see some sunshine out there now, and that'll eventually lead to some pretty warm afternoon temperatures. So It was pretty thick, though, for a while this morning.
Yeah.
Yep, dense fog advisory issued. There you go, polar bear in a snowstorm, right? This is the Van Wezel webcam pointing out over the Gulf waters, and obviously it was pretty thick out there. Lingered a little bit longer over the marine areas, but over land, we're starting to see some pretty nice clearing taking place now. There's still some clouds out in the Gulf, but that too will begin to lift. You can see here on the satellite view how nicely land areas are clearing and allowing daytime heating to take place. That's going to provide us with daytime high temperatures that'll top out again above average, just as they did yesterday. We'll probably get up to about 84 or so. The radar view shows that there's really no rain contained in those clouds that we saw. That's just lifted fog, basically. Local temperatures are already starting to respond pretty quickly to a little bit of that heating out there, and we're getting pretty close to the 80 mark in most locations. Top it out today at about 84 or 85, and then as we head into the evening hours overnight tonight, maybe more fog. We'll talk about that and talk about a couple of fronts headed our way coming up in a few. Scott.
All right, John, thank you. Happening today, it's deadline day to register to vote in next month's special primary election. This special election will fill the seat vacated by Alex Miller, the Republican House representative from Sarasota who resigned earlier this year. A special primary election for the seat will take place December 5th, and then the final special election is set for February 13th. You can still apply online at registertovoteflorida.gov or through any driver's license or tax collector's office that issues Florida driver's licenses or IDs. ABC 7's business commentator Richard Stern joins us now with a check of the day so far on Wall Street and a quiet Monday morning with a little bias to the upside. Richard.
Scott, you got it exactly right. And when I say quiet, the top to bottom range so far today for the Dow Jones Industrial Average is 40 points, 40. Up 27 at the high of the day, down 13 at the low. But the truth of the matter is the market's been up for 8 consecutive weeks. We set records on all 3 of the indices we follow on Friday. So having a quiet morning with a little bit of an upside means at least intraday, we've got nothing but records to look at. Quiet, yes, good. Absolutely. Let's take a look and see what the numbers look like right now. The Dow Jones Industrial Average up by 12 points, 0.05% at 23,551.23 on volume of 318 million shares. The NASDAQ has been up probably pretty strongly today, up 0.2%, almost 15 points at 6,779.36. That on volume of 689 million shares. And the S&P makes it a clean sweep, be it ever so humble, up 12/100ths, not even 3 points at 2,590.92. Well, there was some movement today in Michael Kors, the luxury retailer, maker of handbags. It came out with an announcement that its quarterly earnings were way above Wall Street expectations, and the stock responded by jumping 14%. The company also said going forward, it looks like its earnings, top and bottom, will be ahead of Wall Street expectations, and they recently concluded their purchase of Jimmy Choo. The company also said it just might be on the outlook for other purchases as well. So, Scott, this is a company that had been, frankly, struggling for a little while, looking for some identity, and it looks like they've turned that big ship around, doing very well.
Good news there, and you'll be back at 5 with the potential good news of a good day in Wall Street.
Certainly hope so.
All right, we'll see you then. Thank you, Richard.
You're welcome.
Still to come in your Suncoast News, the flu vaccine can help fight more than just the flu. How it can help fight against pneumonia coming up. And not all medical conditions are easily visible on the surface. Our Undercover Illness series begins tonight here on ABC 7 with an in-depth look at autism. We'll have a preview coming up.
7 Stock Report is brought to you by Sunset Cadillac.
Thanks to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, what was once impossible is happening today for thousands of patients with blood cancer.
I live.
I live. I live. I live.
I live.
She lives.
Because of the research done by the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society in the battle against blood cancer.
If you had a chance to support the research that is saving lives, what would you do?
Take the trolley to Siesta Beach for the Crystal Classic Sand Sculpting Festival, November 10th through 13th. See master sand sculptors create works of art. It's family fun with hands-on kids activities, sand sculpting lessons, music, food, a party tent, and more. Visit SiestaKeyCrystalClassic.com.
Hi, I'm Chef Bob. Watch Aprons in the Kitchen every Wednesday morning on ABC 7, where we'll be serving up the most awesome dishes. Then stop by your neighborhood Publix, pick up the recipe card and all the ingredients.
What to do when your heating or air conditioning needs service or, heaven forbid, replacement? Call Air Now today. We've been serving Sarasota and Manatee County since 1946. We offer $49.95 tune-ups, lease or finance options, and remember, service today or it's free.
Need more space in your place? The More Space Place can help with Murphy beds that disappear to reveal a home office, living room, or den. Custom closets with designated areas for your shoes, bags, wardrobe, and accessories. Custom-built entertainment centers, garage storage systems, and more. The More Space Place has 3 showrooms next to Sonny's on US 41 South in Sarasota, on Lakewood Ranch Boulevard just south of State Route 64 in Bradenton, and on Tamiami Trail next to Panera Bread in Port Charlotte. Put more space in your place at the More Space Place.
Is your old garage door stuck or broken? Would a new one give you a lift? Let Precision Door Overhead Garage Door Service of Sarasota come to the rescue with prompt and affordable repair service. Replacement doors come with an array of styles and colors, and they are rated to meet and exceed Florida standards. From estimates to installation, your satisfaction is our priority. If you're not 100% satisfied with any product, service, or installation, we will make it right, because Precision Door Service is a name you can trust.
Check out mysuncoast.com/dining, your guide to the foodie lifestyle.
It's bigger and better. The Siesta Key Crystal Classic Sand Sculpting Festival, November 10th through 13th. 24 international artists create massive sand sculptures. Enjoy 4 days and 2 nights with live music, food, a party tent, and more. See SiestaKeyCrystalClassic.com for details.
Now your ABC 7 First Alert weather forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
Well, it doesn't take much sunshine to start warming the temperatures at this time of year, and we're up to 78 degrees now with just a little sun around. The sun angle, of course, is getting lower in the sky. There's no doubt about that, but it's still high enough to heat things up, and we will do that today, getting into the mid-80s, once again several degrees above our average for this time of year. 71-degree dew point value. The dew point also lifting just a little bit, going from the mid-60s to the low 70s. That, a dew point of 71 at this time of year, is a recipe for seeing some fog forming, and I think we will see some more again tomorrow morning. East-northeast wind comes in at about 6, mix of sun and fair weather clouds outside. 80 Wauchula, Arcadia, Mayaca, 79 Parrish, Bradenton, Lakewood Ranch, 80 in Northport, 79 in Punta Gorda, 78 in Inglewood, Venice at 80, and 76 out at Longboat Key. So across the United States, we have a couple of things going on right now. We have a frontal boundary kind of very slowly pushing down to the south. It'll be a focal point for showers and maybe even a thunderstorm or two from the mid-Atlantic stretching back into the deep south. And then rain showers above that from the mid-Atlantic on up into down east Maine. Back behind it in the cooler air, we've got some snow showers in progress. Western Great Lakes, open plains, and back into the higher elevations of the mountains is where the heavier snow will fall. An area of low pressure tracking along that is going to help induce some of the bigger thunderstorms that'll occur down through Arkansas, Louisiana, on up into parts of Kentucky and Tennessee as that low lifts up the mountains. For us, though, it's all about that high pressure ridge again today, providing us with pretty tranquil weather, despite the fact that we had a little bit of fog form. The clear skies overnight, the higher dew points all led to that fog that forms. But mostly we'll have sunny skies this afternoon, warm afternoon, and a fairly dry week ahead, despite the fact that we've got some surface moisture. The upper level air is still just too dry to support any kind of showers. Again, water vapor imagery, we'll be showing this a lot lately, shows that dry air indicated here by the tan colors across the state of Florida, suppressing any kind of shower activity that might develop. You might get a few showers over on the other coast. There's a little trough of low pressure along the east coast. You might pick up a few scattered showers there and in the southern tip, but that would be about it. Here's Titan radar verifying that. The showers right along the east coast and in the southern tip. The west coast of Florida, I don't think is going to see a whole lot in the way of any kind of rainfall today. There's our frontal boundary, kicking off those showers that extends from the northeast down through areas of the deep south, producing those rain showers, and then snow showers at higher elevations. We're looking at across the open plains, a few scattered showers there. And the RPM computer model showing a few scattered showers over on the other coast thanks to that trough of low pressure, but the showers associated with that front just not moving a whole lot. That front will finally push through here, but it won't be until much later in the week. Winds out of the north at about 15, subsiding a little bit during the overnight, bringing you a moderate to light chop and 2-foot seas. Forecast calling for daytime highs above average. As we head into the weekend, a series of minor fronts reduce our temperatures a bit and bring minimal chances of rain. Scott?
All right, John, thank you. Fall is the time of year to get your annual flu vaccine. And while the primary goal of a flu shot is, of course, to help stop the spread of the flu, it can also help prevent another very serious illness. Doctors say one of the most feared complications that can result from the flu is bacterial pneumonia. Symptoms start with flu-like symptoms like chills, aches, and fever. After a few days, the person starts to feel better, but then suddenly they'll develop a higher fever, cough up phlegm, and feel short of breath. Pneumonia is confirmed when spots are found during a chest X-ray.
It's important to know that even very healthy people can become ill and even die of bacterial pneumonia after they had influenza.
Dr. Rem says people who are perfectly healthy can become very ill and even die, as you heard there. She says the best way to protect yourself from pneumonia is to be proactive and get your annual flu shot as soon as you can. Not all medical conditions are easily visible on the surface. Some are often undermined and misunderstood. Our Undercover Illness series begins tonight here on ABC7 with an in-depth look at autism. It's a disorder with no known cause, but is linked to brain abnormalities. And while many may associate autism with behavioral challenges in children that are nonverbal, the autism spectrum is actually quite large.
There's a funny saying, it's like if you've met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism. I think a lot of people think that, you know, autism means everyone is this certain way. They don't like loud noises, they don't want to be touched, maybe they flap their arms, you know, the stereotypical things, which isn't true at all.
ABC7's Jess Dowdrick is digging deeper into this undercover illness, and tonight at 6 you'll hear from a mother about her hopes and challenges of raising a child with autism. All right, let's get over to our kitchen now and check in for the first time with our culinary director, Judy Gallagher. Happy Monday to you, Judy.
Happy Monday to you, Scott, and happy start of Thanksgiving and holiday cooking now. It officially starts off today, and I'm really excited because reading a lot of magazines, especially this time of year, I have them piled up looking at Thanksgiving recipes, how I can incorporate new ideas. I have a great one. Trending this year, of course, is butternut squash, but not as it just stands on its own. So I'm going to make a gluten-free macaroni and cheese. We're going to cut back a little bit on the cheese by using a butternut squash bisque. So today you get 2 recipes for the price of 1. I think you're going to love it. You'll never even tell it's gluten-free. Stay with me. I'll be back in just a few minutes to get cooking.
Do you need a good laugh? Starting November 1st at the Players Center, everything that can go wrong does go wrong in the smash hit comedy Moon Over Buffalo. This wild Broadway series production shows what happens both on stage and off. Contact the Players at 365-2494 or at theplayers.org. The show must go on with Moon Over Buffalo.
Let me introduce you to the ultimate Florida window. Do you feel safer with this or this? You'll be proud too.
Buy more, save more. Volume discounts on 4 or more windows.
Attention type 2 diabetics. The FDA warns of an increased risk of amputation associated with certain diabetes medications. If you took the diabetes medications Invokana or Invokamet and then suffered an amputation or one of these other serious injuries, call the Rely On Group right now. If you've suffered amputation or any of these other injuries after taking your diabetes medication, call the Rely On Group today. You may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-604-1698. That's 800-604-1698.
Since 1928, Karastan has been setting the standard in carpets and rugs, producing non-allergenic wools that won't promote the growth of bacteria or dust mites like other carpets will. Karastan wools actively remove contaminants from the indoor air, making your home healthier. And there are many colors and patterns and textures to choose from. Come see for yourself.
So many possibilities worth exploring. Minnesota Flooring.
Since 1972, Sleep King has provided quality mattresses and accessories at the best discounted prices available. Top brands like Simmons, Sealy, Serta, Beautyrest, iComfort, and more. With available free delivery, free financing, and free setup and removal. For a comfortable night's sleep with same-day delivery, even if we have to carry it on our backs. Trust Sleep King of Sarasota. Buy it today, sleep on it tonight.
Get breaking news alerts focused on the Suncoast. Download the ABC7 News app.
A special reunion between a father and son in Texas. Chief Petty Officer Danny Melton has been deployed overseas for the last 3 years in Italy. During that time, he's missed some major milestones in his son's high school career. ABC's Bradley Blackburn was there for the surprise visit.
Friday Lights Senior Night at Midlothian High School.
Number 15.
Jace Melton escorted on the field by his mom, thinking his dad is a world away.
He thinks I'm still overseas in Italy.
Chief Petty Officer Danny Melton has been deployed overseas for the last 3 years. His son here in Midlothian.
But we text like every day.
He's missed so many of his high school moments, but not this one.
I'm just going to give him a huge hug and tell him how proud of him I am.
Tonight, Jace was an honorary captain, his last home football game as a senior. And as he came on the field...
How you feeling? Great. Excited.
His father was riding in through the tunnel.
Chief Melton has been serving our country in the U.S. Navy since 2000 in various commands.
A son looked up at the scoreboard and thought they were honoring a father who couldn't be there as the Midlothian graduate walked back on home field, and then the surprise.
Jace, if you would turn around to the 50, your dad's here.
Love you, man.
A hug, a few words.
I had no idea.
There together for his last game. A proud father, a proud son.
I just like what he does for the country.
A Friday night they'll never forget.
Awesome story there from Bradley Blackburn in Texas. Let's get back to the kitchen now and get more on our meal today from Culinary Director Judy Gallagher. Hi, Judy.
Hi there, Scott. So I did promise you a 2-for-1 today. Here's a great idea. Butternut squash is such a pain to have to peel and cut. It really takes a lot of strength, a lot of wear and tear on your knives. I go over to Yoder's Produce Market and I buy it already cut up. It's worth spending a little bit extra money because it'll save some time. Now, to make butternut squash bisque, the #1 thing is to roast it. So what we're going to do is we toss it in olive oil and lots of fresh thyme, salt and pepper. Then I put it in the oven to roast at 350 to 375, turning it about 2 times just as the edges start to brown, but not too soggy, is when we're going to put it in the oven, okay? When that comes out of the oven, you're going to go to your Vitamix, put in a little cream, season appropriately, whip it up, and it's basically done, and you have butternut squash bisque to serve. How great is that? Now let's turn it into a butternut squash bisque macaroni and cheese. You're seeing a lot of recipes. We're using butternut squash bisque and raviolis, and on top of it for the sauce as well as different things. So now you have a bisque to do for one course. Let's talk about gluten-free macaroni and cheese. This is the Banza brand. It's a chickpea pasta that is very good to use because a lot of gluten-free pastas have grains, and if you're on certain diets that don't allow grains, you can't have things like rice and corn. Chickpea you can. The numbers are really good as far as protein and things like that. So you're going to cook it exactly as directed and drain it and use something like a rotini, the curly, because you want it to absorb the sauce. So I have about 2 cups of my butternut squash bisque that was also considered my first course on Thanksgiving, right? To this, I'm going to add a 1/2 cup of Gruyere shredded. And usually you can't find it shredded, so you just buy a small block at the fresh market, and this is where you get the pasta as well, and then you'll have it. I'm going to add the rest in a little bit, some Parmesan, and then we're going to go about a 1/2 cup of Romano. And we're going to stir all this up And it's basically, remember, this bisque is basically seasoned. Now, the recipe you'll find on our website, mysuncoast.com, is also going to include bacon as a garnish, but don't worry about that because you can either omit it or you can add it. Either way, it's going to taste great. So we're going to whisk this up a little bit more, add some low-fat milk, and then I'll show you how to finish it off before we stir it all in. Then we'll toast the gluten-free breadcrumbs. I'll be back in a few minutes to keep cooking.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
This is an important medical announcement. Xarelto and Pradaxa have been linked to uncontrollable bleeding and even death. If you've been prescribed one of these drugs and have experienced these dangerous side effects, you may be entitled to substantial compensation. Studies show that Pradaxa can cause more heart attacks than warfarin, and other countries have already issued safety warnings against this drug. Call now for a free assessment of your case and potential money damages. The call is confidential, there's no cost, and you may be eligible. Juries have awarded millions of dollars to Pradaxa victims, and thousands of Xarelto victims are filing their legal cases. Call the Drug Watch hotline if you or a loved one used Xarelto or Pradaxa and experienced uncontrollable bleeding, brain hemorrhage, or even death. You must call now.
Call 800-793-6055. 800-793-6055.
Being the caregiver for someone you love is truly a blessing. But sometimes you can lose a part of yourself. To be your best, for them and for you, it's important to have time to be able to recharge your batteries. When you call Tidewell Hospice, they can give you a chance to do just that, and with the peace of mind of knowing your loved one is in the very best hands. Tidewell Hospice. It's more than you think.
Credit card debt can ruin your life. If you owe $10,000 and minimum payments are siphoning away your paycheck each month, you can get debt-free in less time than you think.
I've paid $800 a month for the past 3 years and haven't changed the balance on my credit card.
Get debt-free now has a program to reduce your debt, stop the harassing phone calls, avoid financial ruin, and settle for less than you owe.
I feel like a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders.
You're pre-approved for our special hardship program if you owe $10,000 or more. Upon payment of your new lower balance, your debt will finally shrink until you are debt-free.
My family no longer has 30 years of payments ahead of us at 20% interest.
There's no fees until you see results. So call now, make one monthly program payment, and free up your cash. Resolve your debt.
Call 800-685-6422, 800-685-6422.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
Live from our studios on Florida's Suncoast, this is ABC 7 News at noon. Your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Welcome back. President Trump continues his 10-day Asia trip amidst tragedy here at home, that church massacre from Texas. ABC's Karen Travers is in Tokyo now with the latest.
Good afternoon. President Trump had a packed day here in Tokyo, but before he got into his talks on trade in North Korea, he weighed in on the tragedy back home, trying to offer some comfort to those impacted by the Texas shooting. A horrible act of evil. That's how President Trump described the shooting at a Texas church. But he said mental health is the problem, not guns.
This was a very, based on preliminary reports, very deranged individual. A lot of problems over a long period of time.
He dodged a question about what policies he would support to prevent another tragedy like this.
This isn't a guns situation. I mean, we could go into it, but it's a little bit soon to go into it.
It's the same approach Mr. Trump took after the Las Vegas shooting last month, when he declined to weigh in on any discussion about gun laws. But compare that to his immediate calls for changes in immigration policy after the terror attack in New York City last week. Earlier in the day, the president issuing a call for unity.
But in dark times, and these are dark times,
such as these, Americans do what they do best. We pull together.
It was a jam-packed day, a mix of pomp and circumstance and diplomacy. A state call with the Emperor of Japan at the Imperial Palace. And a red carpet welcome from Prime Minister Abe. Before the president and prime minister got down to business, they fed some fish in a koi pond, at first both sprinkling in a few spoonfuls, but eventually dumping the rest of the box into the water. At a press conference later with the Japanese prime minister, President Trump called the Texas shooter a very deranged individual, but he dodged a question about what changes to gun laws he would consider to prevent another tragedy, saying it's too soon to talk policy. Karen Travers, ABC News, traveling with the president in Tokyo.
The body of a 4-year-old girl was found in a dumpster over the weekend in South Florida. Today, her mother is in jail. Tina Farrington faces a charge of first-degree murder. Investigators say there were no reports of missing children right before the body was found. People in that neighborhood are still shaken from the discovery.
Why would they want to do an innocent child like that? You know, like I said, there's no reason for it to be like that.
The body of 4-year-old Tanya Page was found by a man Sunday afternoon as he threw out his garbage at a Miami-Dade apartment complex. Dozens of people waded through floodwaters in Hollywood, Florida Sunday to mark the King Tide. Sunday was the second annual King Tide flooding event in Hollywood. The event was aimed at raising awareness of global sea levels rising. Experts say king tides, or higher than normal tides, are becoming much more common in South Florida.
It's a natural event, but with sea level rise on top of that, we're going to see more and more days per year of this flooding, to where in 20, 30 years, this is going to be happening twice a day at high tide.
King tides happen when the Earth and Moon come closer together, resulting in higher than normal tides. Such tides cause street flooding across coastal South Florida. University of South Florida Sarasota Manatee campus will be giving out more than $300,000 worth of scholarships thanks to Sunday's Brunch on the Bay event. Nearly 900 people turned out to sample food from more than a dozen area restaurants and learn more about what's happening at the local campus. 1,500 USF Sarasota Manatee students have received scholarships from money raised at past events, totaling more than $1 million.
My scholarships have helped me greatly, not just because they helped fund my school, but because they were funding my school. I didn't have to work as many hours at my job to cover the costs of my education.
USF and its many regional campuses also celebrating a record $475 million in grants and contracts for this year. Time again to get a check on our weather with meteorologist John Scalzi. It was kind of a gloomy start to our day, but it's starting to brighten up a little bit, huh?
Absolutely, and warm up as well.
Yeah,
so, you know, we are headed to another above average day in terms of our temperature. I think by the end of the week, though, we'll get down to a more average kind of daytime high, which it'll be nice. I'm ready for a little bit of seasonable weather.
Yes, me too.
Yeah, as opposed to unseasonably warm, which apparently it looks like this year is headed on track to be one of the top 3 warm ones, also along with last year and the year before. Lakewood Ranch webcam put into motion shows all that fog that we had around this morning. That's a great shot, right? You can see the trees in the foreground, but can't see much in the distance. That changes, of course, with a little bit of daytime heating. We start to mix away some of those clouds as they rise. They certainly didn't produce any rainfall, and as we head into the afternoon, this satellite view shows very clearly that the land areas will benefit from lots of sunshine. Still some fair amount of cloud cover out in the offshore waters, and I think that'll take a little longer to burn off. Maybe around 2, 3 o'clock we'll start to see that start to burn away. Otherwise, no rain for us. Maybe the other coast. Temperatures closing in on that 80-degree mark, and we'll top it out today very close to the 84, 85-degree mark, and not much in the way of any kind of rainfall anticipated despite that little bit of fair weather clouds. Will we see more fog tomorrow? Probably. And what about in the days to come? Well, a couple of fronts are headed our way. We'll talk about that coming up in a few. Scott.
All right, John, thank you. The 30th annual Mayor's Feed the Hungry food drive kicking off today. Since it began, the program on the Suncoast has distributed more than 200 tons of food, along with more than $2 million worth of food gift cards to hungry families across the area. The food collection drive will last through November 17th. Food can be taken to numerous drop-off points, including all Sarasota and Manatee County City Halls and police stations. Other locations include Ed Smith Stadium and select Chase banks. For a full list of drop-off points, just look for this story on our website, mysuncoast.com. When Just for Girls Elementary asked the community for guest readers, Bradenton's police chief was one of the first to volunteer. And today, for the second year in a row, Chief Melanie Bevan went to the elementary school and chose a book to read and act out. She chose one of her childhood favorites, Where the Wild Things Are. The principal of the school says it's important to emphasize the importance of reading and education in general, and it's an added bonus that a person in uniform is doing the reading.
Some of these girls may not have had the greatest exposure to police officers in the past, and this has just been, it's a real positive spin on it. They're excited to see her.
You know, what I just try to accomplish is to be a role model for them, have them see that there's a uniform and a woman in the uniform, and it's just one of many jobs that they can aspire to and become. And
Bevan says reading to the students is one of the best parts of her job. She's really good at it, as you can tell. Adding, these are the leaders of tomorrow, and the more positive interactions they have with law enforcement, the better off everyone will be. In honor of the Sarasota Garden Club's 90th anniversary this month, the club's first president, Mabel Ringling, made a surprise appearance this morning on the grounds, sort of. A Mabel Ringling impersonator came back to inspect all that's happened for the Garden Club since Mrs. Ringling first ran the organization way back in 1927. Mabel's spokesperson, Jean Ruff, says the club is home to 14 different civic organizations and also helps residents of all ages.
We also have Civic Beautification Awards, where community organizations are encouraged to beautify Sarasota through their landscape. So we give awards for that. We also are involved with workshops for Asperger's disease. And we bring children who have Asperger's to the Garden Club and do gardening activities for them, as well as we help Girl Scouts win their badges by doing gardening activities here as well.
Sarasota Garden Club is open 7 days a week and is located across from the Sarasota Hyatt just off Boulevard of the Arts. Another strong turnout over the weekend for the 19th annual Manatee County Stand Down, where the community gives a helping hand to our local veterans. The event is designed to provide basic services to homeless veterans and others in need. More than 200 volunteers with organizations from around the area helping out. Participants got a free meal thanks to the Salvation Army, assistance from a mobile career center, dental care, a flu shot, and 40 people even got a free bicycle. We asked volunteers what the local community can do to help our struggling veterans.
Helping with employment, that's one of the biggest problems that we have is not enough jobs and not enough affordable housing. And what we're trying to do is work towards what we call functional zero. So the number of veterans will be down to at least the number of beds that we have available, and we're getting really close to that in this community.
Sarasota and Manatee area transit services even waive fees for people attending the event. And starting today, State College of Florida will celebrate its veteran and active duty students with tributes and giveaways. Today's events include a free breakfast and lunch at its campuses. Veteran and active duty members will even leave with a $25 gift card to the FCF store, free aid with VA benefits, and a backup cell phone battery. This is just part of a near week-long thank you to SCF students in the armed forces leading up to Veterans Day. Tampa is the 6th best city to live for veterans in the United States. That's according to a new poll. The report compares 100 cities across the U.S. and their benefits for veterans, including income growth and availability of VA health facilities. Among the worst was Hialeah in South Florida. The report also found 72% of Americans would rather declare bankruptcy than fight in a war. And this Veterans Day, free flu vaccines are available to the men and women who have sacrificed for their country. As a way to say thank you to those who have served, American Family Care will give a free flu shot to any veteran with proper ID. And it happens on Veterans Day, which is this Saturday, November 11th. The remains of a soldier killed in World War II are returning to their rightful home here in Florida. Richard Tiny Sowell died in the Pacific, and his DNA was finally matched to a descendant in West Palm Beach. The Palm Beach Post reports that Tiny will be buried Friday in a family plot with full military honors. All right, back to the kitchen now. Time to check in again with Judy Gallagher and a delicious, different pasta dish for Thanksgiving, right, Judy?
That's right. We're making a non-traditional macaroni and cheese because we're using the butternut squash bisque really as the base. Now we already have the butternut squash bisque done. We roasted that squash, started out with it already pre-chopped, lots of fresh thyme, olive oil, salt and pepper, went in the oven, then right in the Vitamix with a little cream, and you're done. So we've taken that bisque, about 2 cups worth, and we added Gruyere cheese, Parmesan, and Romano. Now I've already cooked the garbanzo bean pasta. I'm telling you, this is my new love for family members that are gluten-free. Now, my family members don't have celiac. You have to be very careful with celiac because you don't want cross-contamination from peons. But fortunately for us, it's just a matter of staying against the grain. So look at that. We've stirred this all in, and it's going to be perfect. Now, over on this, I have just about a tablespoon of salted butter and gluten-free breadcrumbs. And we're just going to toast up these breadcrumbs a little bit. Lower the heat. We don't want it to burn, but we'll just give it that little time just to get a little bit of brown. In the casserole pan, sprayed it with some Pam. Now I put down a layer of the butternut squash bisque. But now I have all this creamy, delicious, gluten-free pasta. Look at that. Oh my gosh, this is just so good. So all we have to do now is just top it with the breadcrumbs and just a little more of each cheese. If you want, if you see that you want a little bit more creamy texture, you can also add about a tablespoon or 2 of plain yogurt. It's another thing to use instead of heavy cream is think about using yogurt. I've been using it a lot in baking and it's worked out really well. So I can see that the breadcrumbs are starting to toast, so allow me to just wipe this off real quickly. And this is a dish, because we're not using a roux, that flour base, it's not going to overly thicken up if you prep this part and just bake it in the morning of Thanksgiving. So you can get all this ready. I would wait to do, you can butter the breadcrumbs, but I would wait to brown them until that morning when it's ready to go in the oven. So we're just going to top some breadcrumbs right on here. And like I said, you can use the bacon, you don't have to. You can stir in chives or even chipotle, the peppers, just a little bit to give it a southwestern flair. In the oven for about 20 minutes and we're all set. When we come back, I'll pull the one that I have in the oven out and we'll be ready for a grand taste. It's Thanksgiving time, my favorite time of the year.
For your plumbing, electrical, or air conditioning, and services is qualified, and service calls are free. And services.com, AND services.com.
Hi, I'm Chef Bob. Watch Aprons in the Kitchen every Wednesday morning on ABC7, where we'll be serving up the most awesome dishes. Then stop by your neighborhood Publix, pick up the recipe card and all the ingredients.
Need more space in your place? The More Space Place can help with Murphy beds that disappear to reveal a home office, living room, or den. Custom closets with designated areas for your shoes, bags, wardrobe, and accessories. Custom-built entertainment centers, garage storage systems, and more. The More Space Place has 3 showrooms next to Sonny's on US 41 South in Sarasota, on Lakewood Ranch Boulevard just south of State Route 64 in Bradenton, and on Tamiami Trail next to Panera Bread in Port Charlotte. Put more space in your place at the More Space Place.
Today, everyone is looking for more fashionable choices in flooring than ever before. And G. Fried has responded with a huge selection of carpets, tile, wood, laminate, and vinyl. Installed by a highly skilled team, G. Fried has got everything you're looking for and more. The next time you think about quality flooring, think G. Fried Flooring America. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
For the last decade, S&S Motorsports of Sarasota has built custom high-performance vehicles for demanding clients worldwide. They're now bringing their 50-plus years of combined build expertise to the parts business. SRQ Performance Parts is your one-stop shop for all your performance parts and accessories.
Keep up with the Suncoast. Watch your favorite ABC7 shows on your streaming device.
For your plumbing, electrical, or air conditioning, and services is qualified, and service calls are free. And services.com, AND services.com.
Now your ABC7 First Alert Weather Forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
A 79-degree air temperature, mix of sun and clouds out there. Dew point value at 69. East-northeast wind coming in at about 3. All of that means that we have high enough dew point values to support this kind of fog that we had this morning, probably again tomorrow morning as well. And we have an air temperature that's continuing to rise in response to a little bit of heating that we're getting now as the clouds begin to mix away a tad. So we are well on the road to hitting that 83, maybe 84 degree air temperature today. 81 in Arcadia, 81 in Myakka, Northport at 81, 80 in Venice, 78 in Inglewood, 79 in Bradenton, and Longboat at 77. Across the nation right now, we have this trough of low pressure that's producing some inclement weather and the potential for thunderstorm activity all along the front. Now, it will eventually work its way to the south. It will eventually work its way through the state of Florida, but it's not going to happen for several more days, and it will kind of modify as it does that. As it sinks southward, we'll probably watch it lose a lot of its cold air, because of, well, it just gets heated up as it sits in one place. And eventually we'll see it work through here with only a degree or 2 lowering of our temperature. Well, more like 3 or 4 degrees lowering of our temperature. So this is not going to be a potent cold front by any stretch of the imagination. High pressure still remains our dominant weather feature and will be the dominant weather feature for the next probably 4 or 5 days until that front finally chips away at it and that high moves out into the Atlantic. Sunny skies, warm afternoon, and a dry week ahead. So you can see those showers associated with that frontal boundary really stretching all the way back into the deep south to down east Maine. Some snow showers at higher elevations in the Dakotas and also back to the west in the northern Rockies. For us, the Futurecast shows, well, a few scattered showers over on the other coast. We have this trough of low pressure that exists on the other coast. That's really not going to go anywhere. And then for us locally, maybe a few fair weather clouds, but basically some pretty quiet, tame conditions on the west coast of Florida for the next several days. Hurricane season's not over yet. Oh, so let's show you this first. Along that stalled frontal boundary, there is a bullseye location for the potential of some severe weather. So if you're traveling to, say, Nashville or Memphis, you may have some problems due to some stronger thunderstorms in the vicinity of your airports, but locally should be fine. So still in hurricane season, might see reform here over the course of the next several days. Tropical depression 19 right now with 35-mile-an-hour winds, kind of in a bad way. It's getting sheared apart, but it should continue to move toward a position that'll maybe develop it into a tropical storm, and then very quickly be pushed away out into open waters of the Atlantic and eventually on a track that'll take it very close to United Kingdom. It'd be the second one this season that might impact the United Kingdom with power outages and such as that. We'll see how it plays out and whether it does indeed hold together, but interesting that we get 2 in one season to impact an area of the world that seldom gets anything that's even a hybrid tropical system. North wind at 15 knots today, moderate chop reduced to a light chop, and over the extended range forecast, a couple of fronts come through Friday and Sunday, but don't do a whole lot. Scott?
Okay, John, thank you. During his final year in office, Governor Rick Scott wants state fees and taxes cut by nearly $200 million. The package much smaller than last year's $600 million request. Scott wants a 10-day back-to-school tax holiday where residents would not pay any sales taxes on school items. He's also proposing tax holidays where the state would waive taxes on hurricane preparation supplies. The governor also wants to cut the price of renewing a driver's license. Scott is expected to announce the proposal later today. It will be considered during the upcoming 2018 legislative session that starts in January. State lawmakers, though, have already warned that they may have to pursue budget cuts during the upcoming session. Ivanka Trump is hitting the road to help pitch her father's calls for tax reform. President Trump's daughter, who serves as one of his advisors, was in California Sunday to discuss the GOP tax reform plan at the Reagan Presidential Library. Trump told attendees the tax reform plan currently being considered by Congress is a win-win for Americans.
Lowering rates for American families and American businesses and increasing our economic competitiveness will create economic opportunity and prosperity for all.
Ivanka Trump was joined at the event by Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin. The two will participate in a tax reform roundtable in Newport Beach, California later today. Many retailers are competing with the growing trend towards online shopping, and one of those retailers trying to attract some of your in-store spending is Toys R Us. For the third year in a row, The big box toy retailer has announced it will open its stores on Thanksgiving Day. The shopping marathon will kick off at 5 p.m. Thanksgiving and continue through 11 p.m. on Black Friday at most of the chain's locations. There is one exception, though, New York City's Times Square. That location will be opening its doors at 8 a.m. on Thanksgiving and won't close until midnight on Saturday. And remember, to get updates on developing stories or other national or local breaking news, you can download the latest updated version of our news app. iPhone users will need to go to the App Store and download this new app. Just search for WWSB or My Suncoast. Android users get the update automatically. Still to come in your Suncoast News, Tonight Show host Jimmy Fallon has canceled taping of a show for the rest of the week. We'll find out why and how the network is responding.
Attention, Americans eligible for Medicare. Are you getting all the benefits you're entitled to? Did you know there may be money available to lower your medical prescription costs? Call Health Markets and we'll tell you if you qualify.
Hi, I'm Dr. Martin Jeetsi. It's a new Medicare year. That means more changes and more confusion. The key question is, what can you do now to ensure you get the care you need in the coming year?
Call Health Markets today. You may qualify to save money on prescriptions. We'll help you find plans that may cost less, cover more, and could even lower your prescription costs to increase your savings. We help you find all the benefits you're entitled to, and we do it at no cost.
Make sure you have what you need to get the care that's right for you.
Find out if you qualify to receive extra help with your prescriptions. Call the number on the screen now. Representatives are standing by.
What if you had a medical emergency away from home?
My chest hurts. I can't breathe.
What you need is Mobile Help, America's premier mobile medical alert system. Most systems only work at home, but with Mobile Help, you get help outside the home with coverage nationwide on one of the largest cellular networks at the press of a button. Call the number on your screen for a free full-color brochure. We'll send you everything you need, including this base station, the patented mobile device, and the waterproof pendant and wrist button. You can also add the fall button that automatically detects falls and signals help. Call today and receive a risk-free 30-day trial. There is no equipment to buy and no long-term contract. For a limited time, you will also receive a free emergency key box with your plan purchase. Remember, Mobile Help keeps you safe coast to coast.
Call 1-800-916-8638. That's 1-800-916-8638.
If you're between 50 and 85 years old, call the number on your screen right now for free information on how to save your family thousands of dollars. We're Family Love Plans, and we've been helping families just like yours for over 30 years. The average funeral today can cost up to $10,000 or more, but the most you'll get from government benefits is just $255. How will your family pay the difference? At Family Love Plans, we can help you and your family. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam and your plan can't be canceled. Better still, your rate will never go up and your benefits will never go down. Get your free information about our senior plans. Just answer a few simple questions and receive approval right over the phone.
Call 1-800-707-3608. That's 1-800-707-3608.
Check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC 7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, step-by-step videos, and Suncoast Restaurant Guide. You'll find it all at mysuncoast.com/dining.
I gotta tell you, this is really good.
You
really
get that,
good.
So you get that flavor of the creaminess of the roasted butternut squash, right? And then using that gluten-free pasta, you can't tell the difference that it's chickpea pasta in a dish like this. Has that Gruyere cheese, Parmigiano Romano, so it feels a little bit decadent, but it's actually lighter. So you do get the two dishes. There's the butternut squash bisque right out of the Vitamix, and then it's roasted version. And John, I got you and Scott a turkey. Look at these adorable decorations, edible decorations at the Fresh Market. We have the grand turkey, but then they have the individual little chocolate turkeys. How much fun is that to put on everybody's placemat? Yeah, so
Great ideas,
you
Julie.
guys get a turkey.
On our website, mysuncoast.com, click on the dining links page, and it'll take you right there. Please, ma'am, may I have some more?
Yes, you may. It's Thanksgiving time. Have as much as you want.
Delicious.
Scott?
Thank you both. Well, new episodes of The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon will not air this week after Fallon's mother, Gloria, passed away Saturday. NBC released a statement today expressing condolences to Fallon and his family. A taping of Fallon's show had already been canceled last Friday so that the host could be by his mother's side in the hospital. She died the next day at the age of 68. Fallon said in a statement that he lost his biggest fan. We'll grab some cheese and peppers because today is National Nachos Day. According to legend, nachos were accidentally invented by a Mexican man nicknamed Nacho, who had to think quickly and come up with a snack after a group of hungry people showed up at his restaurant. The only items in the kitchen at the time were cheese and tortillas. So he cut the tortillas into triangles and melted the cheese on top of the chips. And we're so glad he did that.
The rest, as they say, is history.
We love you, Nacho.
Everyone
Good
loves
story.
nachos.
Yeah, they're so good.
That, by the way, was delicious soup. You've got to try some of that.
I can't wait to try it.
Really extraordinary.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great day, and we'll see you again at 5 o'clock.